and welcome to From the Roots Up, where we're building our homestead little by little from the roots up. I'm Kristy, and today we are making apple pie filling. It is day 29 in the Every Bit Counts challenge, and we have been preserving something every day in the month of August. And we are almost done. We've almost made it, y'all. Today we are going to be taking this big bushel of apples and we are going to be processing it and canning it in jars ready to go straight into your apple pie. The first thing we need to do with these apples is to peel them and chop them up. For peeling, I have this apple peeler. It will core and slice, but I don't want the thin slices. I want some good apple chunks, so I'm gonna take this corer and slicer here and use this one. These are fantastic and they are not expensive at all, and you can find them pretty much anywhere, but I'll put a link down below where you can find this one. It cores it and it makes those nice little apple wedges. But both of these tools, when you're dealing with a ton of apples, they're just absolutely invaluable. Now, because it's gonna take us a while to cut all these apples, we don't want them to brown while we're waiting to finish this whole process. So I have mixed up some lemon juice and water, and I'm gonna dip the apples in this before I put them in the bowl, because that will keep them from browning. Let's get started peeling. Okay, now we've chopped up all the apples. We want to make the filling to go in the apple pie mix. The first thing we're going to need is a pot that we're going to put on the stove, and we're going to pour 5 cups of water into that pot. And I'll be sure to post this recipe down below so that you can see it. Then we're going to need 4½ cups of sugar. One tablespoon of cinnamon. Now I add 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and just a pinch of ground cloves and 2 teaspoons of salt. We're going to take this over to the stove and we're going to heat this up until the sugar dissolves. Okay, now while that's heating up, I'm going to take 5 cups of water and 1 cup of ClearJel, and I'm going to mix these together. I'm going to whisk them together. This helps, doing it in this stage, it helps the sugar to dissolve really well, but it also helps prevent clumping and things. Once the sugar is dissolved over there, I'm just going to pour this in and bring the entire mixture to a boil. And if you're wondering what that little squeaking noise is, when I'm on the other side of the camera, these little puppies are ready to get out. They say, hey, come hold me. The sugar's pretty well dissolved in here. I'm gonna take our ClearJel and water mixture and I'm gonna pour it in. And what I wanna do at this point is to bring it to a boil, and then as it boils, it's going to thicken, and I want it nice and thick and bubbly. Okay, now that we boiled it a little bit, it's thickened, I pulled it off of the heat. I'm now going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. I want to make sure that I've warmed these jars because I don't want to be putting hot liquid into cold jars that can cause them to crack. And another thing with these is I want to leave 1 inch to 1.5 inches of headspace. Now I know that's not common when you water bath can. That's really, 1 inch of headspace is common if you're doing veggies or something in the pressure canner. But the reason we leave 1 inch to 1.5 inches headspace for this recipe is because the apples have a propensity to expand a little bit, and we don't want them to expand and pop out of the jar. That can totally happen. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna just put some apples in about halfway up. Fill the jars halfway up with apples, and then we're going to ladle in our syrup over top of those apples. Until those apples are covered. And then we want to put more apples in the top. And remember, we want to leave 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And cover those with our sauce. So now that I've done that, I want to put a knife down into here, or you can use the plastic canning thing. I use a knife, but I also am very careful not to bang it on the bottom of the jar. And this just helps get out some bubbles. And then once you're done getting the bubbles out, a lot of times there'll be more room for you to add a little extra liquid. Then once we've done that, we want to make sure we clean off our rim of our jar really, really well, so we don't have anything interfering with the canning process. Put the canning lid down, take the ring, and twist the ring finger tight, just a little bit more. We don't want to wrench it down really hard because that can interfere with it sealing. And now this jar is ready for the water bath canner. Let's go ahead and get all these jars ready to go. All right, now that these are full, I'm gonna put them into my canner, and I'm gonna set them down in here, and I wanna make sure that my canner water is warm because I don't wanna stick these in cold water if they have warm things inside of them. And I'm gonna have about 1 inch to 2 inches of water on top of them, and I'm also gonna pour in a little bit of vinegar. This cuts our hard water and causes them not to come out with that yucky white ring around them. So we're gonna take the canner, we're gonna put it on the stove and bring it to a boil over high heat. Once it reaches a boil, we're gonna let it boil for 25 minutes. At that point, we'll turn off the stove, uncover the canner, and let it set for 5 minutes before we take the jars out. See you back then. Okay, we have boiled this for 25 minutes and let it set for 5, and now we're gonna take our jars out. These look absolutely delicious. And now we have 6 quarts of apple pie filling ready to go. All we've got to do is to dump it in a pie crust and bake it, and it's all done. All the messy work is done for us. This has been another really fun project for our Every Bit Counts challenge. If you missed any of our videos, be sure to check out the playlist right over here. And we still have 2 days left in the Every Bit Counts challenge. Tomorrow we're going to be showing you how to freeze dry eggs, and then it's going to be spaghetti sauce. So we hope you'll join us for those. If you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, then you'll be notified when those videos come out. Have a great day.